I don't really have a lot to say here, so let's get started. You all know TPOT 19, the TPOT episode that premiered at the BFDI XII 2025 tour. A lot of people, especially back then, said that this episode was a great experience, and one of, if not the best episode in the entire show, including myself. However, after rewatching the entire thing, I've started to realize the flaws that it has, and after thinking about it for a while, I decided that it is one of the worst TPOT episodes, including the Dark Age. Still not the worst. Side note, a lot of things that I'm gonna talk about are similar things that Worst Trends talked about in his reaction video, so I'm sorry if this is a little repetitive, but without further ado, let's begin. Before I begin, I just want to point out that the animation, sound design, music, and voice acting are all top notch here. Besides Four's voice, which is a lot less high-pitched and more serious, which doesn't really fit his character, but he still sounds good on their own. I'm gonna get yelled at for misgenderizing BFDI characters, aren't I? What I have problems with this episode, though, is the writing and characterization. But okay, I have to admit, the opening is amazing. I have no idea what it is about modern TPOT episodes, but the openings to a majority of their episodes are usually the best scenes in the entire episode, and this one is no exception. We end up learning a little bit about one's backstory, and how Four was actually the one who locked her up in the moon. This wouldn't be fully explored until the next episode, but I appreciate it anyways. Afterwards, one goes straight to the crack in the sky and begins doing a bit of trolling, where she screams as we cut right to Four. Fandy, Tennis Ball, and Golf Ball then all walk in on him, who tries to decipher one's whiteboard shenanigans. However, it's cut short because of the mess that's happening outside. Lai and Pen then come into the room where they notice Four stealing Two's power. Lai then slaps Four, and for some reason, instead of just ignoring her like how they'd probably do, they instead give the power to the contestants. Like, all of them. Totally great idea, guys. As shown before, the contestants can do really bad things if they have an extremely powerful thing in their hands, so why would they just give it to them? That's just the beginning of the episode's problems, though. It gets way worse as we go on. After the intro, which I'm not gonna talk about because, it's the intro, we see the contestants try to defend against the crack, when all of a sudden it causes the background to go from this nice field of green trees and yellow grass to what looks like the aftermath of an apocalypse. I really like the background they gave to the place, especially the one shot of the lightning coming down from the sky and causing the place to turn even more apocalyptic. In order to calm everyone down, TV decides to start Cake at Stake, where him and Snowball are both eliminated. After last episode, I was hoping that TV would be able to get more development and Snowball would be able to interact with Pen more, but guess not. This obviously isn't the writer's fault, I just want to express my thoughts on these two being out. But interestingly, Grassy went into the bottom two for the very first time, and I think that's when the writers realized, oh my god, we need to save him. And as you'll see later in this video, the kind of stuff that happens to him is just kinda stupid, but we'll get there. So after Snowball is sent away and TV learns that he's eliminated, he realizes that nobody gives a crap about him. So he decides to create the challenge of a battle royale. This is a great challenge for any object show. Animatic Battle did the same challenge and it was one of the greatest episodes of any object show ever. So it sucks that they had to waste such a brilliant idea for this. Again, we'll get there. The main characters of this episode are clearly Pencil, Grassy, and Lai. There are some other characters that definitely do something, the notable ones being Donut, Winner, Price Tag, and Black Hole, but overall the screen time balancing is all out of whack. You have the characters like the three previously mentioned that get a lot of screen time and are the main focuses of the episode. Now name me one thing Pen did throughout the entire challenge. He talked to Black Hole for 3 seconds, gets rejected from joining Book's group, then dies from Donut. This is canonically the last time we see him, what a way to go out. Okay, but really, Fanny, Marker, Tennis Ball, the aforementioned Pen, Golf Ball, Tree, and Bottle could literally be cut out of the episode and nothing would change. Book, Winner, and Price Tag also did pretty much nothing in this episode, but they at least moved the plot along in some way. They were the only characters to fight back against Pencil and Lai, so there's that. Black Hole's only focus in this episode is to protect everyone from the crack in the sky, which doesn't even matter anyway since they're all inside the hotel for a majority of the episode. Also, he gets kidnapped by one at the end, I guess. Donut's only purpose is to show the viewer that because Gady signed the contract with one, it caused her to be erased from the timeline. And also this leads to Barfbag and Basketball's erased from existence as well. I'll be real with you, this is the only scene that I really enjoy watching, besides the opening. The animation is amazing, the lighting is stellar, and the tension is raised really high. And of course, this being around my favorite character left in this season makes it all the better. It kind of sucks that he dies right after and is never recovered in TPOT 21, but hey, we can't always have nice things. Then we get to these three, and I think this is where the writers realize that they actually need a reason that one gets to enforce power, so this was their excuse. Lai is extremely out of character in this episode. Back then, she never seemed this antagonistic towards Death Pact, but now she's just annoying. She randomly decides to kill Fanny and Marker, and out of all the characters on Death Pact yet again, you chose the two that weren't on the original Death Pact. If it was someone like Tree, it would still be stupid, but you'd at least understand where Lai is getting this from. Here, you just feel bad for the two of them. They did nothing wrong and Lai's just being cruel for the sake of being cruel. Then she has a talk with Black Hole about how his life isn't as easy as hers. If I'm gonna be real, I kind of fell asleep while watching this part. Then she kills all the failed debuters, including winner and price tag. Again, did nothing wrong. And that doesn't even matter at the end. She ends up getting killed by Pencil, not even making her team immune. But she at least tried to do the challenge. Pencil, similar to Lai, is also extremely out of character. It's a problem I had throughout the entire season if I'm gonna be real, so I can't really blame the writers for doing that. However, when the challenge is a battle royale and Grassy is powerless and pissing you off, wouldn't it make sense for you to just kill him? Instead, she decides to put him in the vents where he'll be safe. You can't see it, but there's quotation marks. Out of all the episodes I expect Pencil to be a douchebag, this is the one episode that I expect her to act this way. But why is she doing this? It's completely out of character when you realize that only 3 episodes ago, she chugged him straight to 4 with no apology. Then she fights with 4, which I'll get to later, signs 1's deal which allows her to get 2 enforced power, and an arguably really cool scene that subverts the audience's expectations, and Pencil is sent back to BFDI 1A. And finally, we have Grassy. Grassy, for the most part, is just sympathy baiting. He loses his best friend, is continuously pushed around, and the ending sequence just makes people feel sad for him. This is due to him being in the bottom 2 of this episode, and since the writers, presumably, want him to get to the finale, they make this happen to him. And God forbid we talk about 4 in this episode. They're probably the most inconsistent character in the entire show, but here they're downright awful. Like I said earlier, they give the contestants 2's power even though it's shown before that this could lead to very bad things. He's overthrown by Pencil, who has like half of 2's power, so 4 should be able to defeat her easily, and their fight was so interesting. I really want to like this scene. There's so many things I love. The animation, the presentation, the music, the sound design, all great. But between all those great things, I have to focus on the fact that 4 goes into toddler mode. They only use his laser thing, which is extremely weird considering they have more than one ability. They can transform people into weird shapes, screech at people, teleport people to who knows where, but they just don't do that, and I don't understand why. So, yeah, 1 takes 2 enforced power, where she kicks the earth into who knows where, which we end on a shot of Grassy crying, also known as, "Hey voters, when I'm up for elimination, you should vote me," and it's just so cheap. I think this is where the series officially jumped the shark. There were some instances beforehand, like in Teapot 15, but this was the official mark of the end. Which sucks because this episode has a lot going for it. The opening is amazing, the Battle Royale challenge is extremely cool, and like I said a million times, the presentation and sound design are all great. But when your characters are acting extremely out of character, it makes it hard to like the episode as a whole. So, yeah, 4 out of 10 episode. If you like it, I am so sorry you had to hear me rant for like 10 minutes, but hopefully you can at least understand where I'm getting this from. And if you're extremely mad about someone's opinion, the dislike button is right there. Nobody's watching you. So hopefully when TPOT 23 comes out, it'll be a much better experience and event than whatever happened here. I'm sad now.